What if I told you that the moment you stop being emotionally predictable, no one in the world can control you? Today, we will reveal the secret weapon that Machiavelli swore by: your emotions. Most people live their lives as puppets of the feelings, opinions, and manipulations of others. One harsh word can shatter their day. One glance can dictate their actions. One disappointment can steal their power. But what if you could make your emotions your weapon rather than your weakness? In this video, we will explore how to become emotionally dangerous, how to take control of your inner world, and why, once you do, no one, not friends, enemies, or strangers, can ever manipulate you again. Imagine for a moment that every reaction you have, every sigh, every furrowed brow, every flicker of emotion is like a door. Some doors are left wide open, inviting anyone to enter, to wander freely through the corridors of your mind, and to rearrange your thoughts, your decisions, your very sense of self. Most people walk through life leaving these doors open, believing that showing emotion is honesty, that reacting is human. But Machiavelli, who observed the world with unflinching eyes, would call this a fatal weakness. The first step to becoming emotionally dangerous, the first step to absolute autonomy, is to master your emotional fortresses, to build walls so formidable that no one can breach them. To master your emotions, you must first understand them as tools rather than truths. Emotions are not accidents, they are instruments of power. They can betray you or they can serve you. The weak are at the mercy of their anger, their joy, their fear. A man who allows anger to dictate his words can be manipulated by those who understand his triggers. A person who craves approval can be caged by flattery and praise. To be emotionally dangerous, you must rise above the slavery of your own instincts. You must become the master of the reactions that define you in the eyes of others. Consider the art of the unshakable face. The truly dangerous person does not react as others expect. He does not allow joy to illuminate him like an open flame for predators to see. He does not allow pain to show weakness. He controls every twitch, every tremor, every gesture. The world will search for signs, for cracks, for opportunities to exploit, and they will find none. Your face becomes a shield, your voice a controlled instrument, your posture a declaration that you are unassailable. This is not coldness, this is strategy. To show every thought, to display every feeling, is to surrender power. To conceal them, to manage them, is to command it. Emotional fortresses are built not only by restraint, but by understanding the terrain of human interaction. Observe the people around you. Notice who controls their reactions and who allows reactions to control them. Observe how the indecisive and the reactive are bent by circumstance, while those who command their feelings move through the world untouched, like shadows gliding past the ignorant and the impulsive. Every moment you allow your emotions to dictate your choices, you hand a fragment of your sovereignty to someone else. Every moment you resist the urge to react, every moment you pause, reflect, and choose your response, you reinforce the walls of your fortress. But mastery is not mere suppression. To be emotionally dangerous, you must also cultivate unpredictability. Those who are predictable in their feelings are vulnerable. Their anger is obvious, their sorrow transparent, their pleasure exposed. The world becomes a map where enemies and opportunists can plot their moves against you. The emotionally dangerous person is like a storm that appears suddenly, without warning, striking where others are unprepared. This requires a mind trained in observation and patience, a mind that measures every impulse against the potential gain of silence, of discretion, of deliberate expression. Consider the lessons of history, where rulers were overthrown not by armies, but by their inability to manage the perceptions of those around them. A prince who displayed fear became prey. A commander whose joy betrayed confidence was deceived. The common thread is not external threat, but internal vulnerability. Emotional mastery is therefore not merely self-control, it is power protection. It is the assurance that no one can exploit your inner life, no one can predict your moves, No one can bind you with words, praise, or threats. To achieve this, you must embrace solitude and reflection. The emotionally dangerous are not those who hide in crowds, but those who cultivate an inner life independent of the whims and judgments of others. They meditate, they observe, they analyze their responses until every reaction is deliberate, every display of feeling a choice rather than an instinct. You cannot be manipulated by someone whose influence cannot reach the walls of your mind. You cannot be controlled by a world that believes it can read your heart when, in truth, your heart is a fortress, defended by reason, strategy, and unwavering self-command. The danger of emotional mastery lies in its subtlety. It is not announced. It does not manifest in grand gestures or dramatic proclamations. It manifests in consistency, in the calm amidst chaos, in the moments when the world expects vulnerability and finds none. Friends and foes alike will question your motives, your desires, your loyalties. They will attempt to provoke, to charm, to manipulate, to sway, and every attempt will fail. The fortress holds, unyielding, impregnable, and utterly incomprehensible to those who rely on reading faces, predicting reactions, or exploiting weakness. Finally, emotional mastery demands vigilance. Fortresses are not built in a day. They are constructed brick by brick through deliberate practice, reflection, and self-awareness. Every time you resist the temptation to overreact, every time you conceal disappointment, every time you respond with calm instead of chaos, you lay another stone in the walls that will protect you. You are no longer at the mercy of circumstance, insult, or manipulation. You are the architect of your own autonomy, the ruler of a realm that exists not in the lands you occupy, but in the inviolable territory of your own mind. Machiavelli would remind you that those who control themselves are feared and respected, not for cruelty, not for strength alone, but for their unassailable presence. To master your emotions is to master the most dangerous weapon you possess, the weapon that ensures freedom, sovereignty, and power over every interaction, every adversary, every attempt to bend you to another's will. In the theater of human interaction, Machiavelli observed that the wise ruler does not rely solely on affection or loyalty, for both are fragile, fleeting, and easily manipulated. To be untouchable, one must cultivate a presence that commands both fear and respect, a combination so potent that it shields you from the ambitions and manipulations of others. This is not the fear of cruelty or intimidation for its own sake. True fear, in the Machiavellian sense, is a disciplined, controlled aura that signals power, unpredictability, and consequence, while respect is the recognition of competence, self-command, and authority. Together, they form a shield no one dares breach. Consider the common man or woman who seeks to be liked, admired, and praised. Their desire for approval chains them to the whims of others. A smile from a superior dictates their behavior. A glance of disapproval from a peer unsettles their equilibrium. They live in constant surrender, their power always second to the opinions of the people around them. But the emotionally dangerous understand a deeper law, that influence and control are not won by pleasing others, but by shaping how others perceive the consequences of crossing you. Respect and fear are weapons of perception, and perception is the currency of power. Fear, however, is not terror without reason. It is a carefully measured force, a signal that your presence carries weight, that your reaction is not to be underestimated, that the cost of betrayal, insult, or manipulation is too high to attempt. Machiavelli warned that if one seeks only to be loved, they invite treachery. Love is conditional, fragile, and fickle. Fear, when paired with justice and honor, becomes a safeguard. Those who respect you may hesitate to harm you, but those who fear you will calculate twice before attempting it. Emotional danger is not chaos, it is calculated influence over the choices of others, built on the foundation of disciplined perception management. To command fear and respect, one must first be disciplined in self-presentation. Every word spoken, Every gesture made, every expression shown is a signal. The emotionally dangerous person does not reveal weakness, does not betray uncertainty, does not allow trivialities to disrupt composure. By maintaining an unshakable exterior, one signals control, and in that signal, others see both competence and consequence. They recognize that any attempt to manipulate, deceive, or challenge you carries risk. You are no longer merely a participant in social or professional interactions. You become a figure to be calculated against, a presence to be respected, a force to be feared. Yet fear alone without respect can be shallow, brittle, and ultimately isolating. The tyrant ruled by intimidation may inspire immediate obedience, but over time, fear without respect breeds resentment and rebellion. The emotionally dangerous, the Machiavellian strategist, understands that fear must be coupled with a demonstration of skill, intelligence, and discernment. When people respect your mind, your judgment, and your mastery over yourself, they fear not only the consequences of angering you, but also the cunning that underlies every action. They understand that your power is not merely physical, not merely emotional, but strategic. This is the ultimate protection. No one challenges a mind they cannot predict, nor a character they cannot sway. History is littered with rulers and leaders who failed because they misunderstood this delicate balance. Some relied solely on kindness and were crushed by betrayal. Others relied solely on brutality and found themselves isolated, feared, but ultimately powerless when allies turned into enemies. Machiavelli's insight is timeless. To be untouchable, one must cultivate both fear and respect in those around them, blending them into an inseparable force that ensures influence, security, and autonomy. The emotionally dangerous wield these twin powers not with tyranny, but with the precision of a master swordsman, striking where needed and withholding where restraint serves their purpose. The process begins with observation. To wield fear and respect effectively, one must understand the ambitions, weaknesses, and tendencies of those around them. Every action, every word, every reaction is data. Those who are emotionally dangerous read this data not to exploit recklessly, but to craft a reputation that precedes them. Others anticipate consequences before acting, and the perception of your power becomes as potent as its reality. Fear is magnified not merely by your capacity for retaliation, but by the certainty that your decisions are deliberate, calculated, and unyielding. Respect is earned in every choice that demonstrates intelligence, discipline, and mastery over oneself and one's environment. Unpredictability is also a critical element. The emotionally dangerous do not allow themselves to be easily read. They remain composed when others would react, strategic when others are impulsive, measured when others are emotional. This unpredictability intensifies both fear and respect, for people never know precisely what to expect, yet they know the outcome will reflect competence and consequence. You become a presence whose intentions cannot be casually tested, whose mind is a labyrinth that rewards neither deceit nor rash action. Finally, Machiavelli would insist that the cultivation of fear and respect is not an act of cruelty, but an act of self-preservation and mastery. To surrender control of perception is to surrender control of power. To be emotionally dangerous is to ensure that every interaction is calculated, that every response is deliberate, and that no one can manipulate your desires, provoke your weakness, or dictate your actions. Fear and respect become not merely tools of influence, but shields that render you untouchable, unmanipulable, and sovereign within your own life. In the world of power and influence, most people perceive vulnerability as weakness, a tear, a hesitation, a confession of fear. These are seen as cracks in the armor, opportunities for exploitation. But Machiavelli, the keen observer of human behavior, teaches us that what others perceive as weakness can be alchemized into power if wielded with calculation and intent. The emotionally dangerous do not blindly conceal vulnerability. They understand that true power comes from knowing when and how to reveal it, turning perception into a weapon that others cannot anticipate or resist. Consider the common reaction to vulnerability: Most respond instinctively with fear, discomfort, or pity. They believe that those who show weakness are to be protected, to be guided, to be manipulated. But the master strategist knows that vulnerability is a mask, a tool, a signal that can shape the behavior of others without surrendering control. A well-timed display of uncertainty, a fleeting glimpse of human fragility, can disarm opponents, lower defenses, and invite trust, all while the emotionally dangerous individual maintains full command over their intentions. This is not deception in the ordinary sense, it is perception management at the highest level. The first step in transforming vulnerability into power is understanding yourself deeply. You must know your fears, your weaknesses, your insecurities, and more importantly, the occasions when exposing even a fragment of them serves your purpose. Machiavelli would argue that self-knowledge is the bedrock of strategy. Without it, any attempt to manipulate perception will crumble under scrutiny. The emotionally dangerous cultivate an intimate awareness of their internal world, not to surrender to it, but to command it. They learn to reveal selectively, never spontaneously, and always with a clear strategic advantage. Next, one must master timing. Vulnerability revealed at the wrong moment invites exploitation, revealed at the right moment commands influence. Imagine a political adversary pressing you, expecting arrogance or anger. A measured pause, a subtle hesitation, even a display of concern can create an opening. The opponent relaxes, assuming superiority, and in that moment, you dictate the pace, you control the narrative, and you prepare your decisive response. Vulnerability, wielded strategically, becomes the bait that lures others into predictable patterns they believe are their own design, but which you have meticulously orchestrated. Machiavelli also emphasized the importance of ambiguity. The emotionally dangerous rarely allow their vulnerability to be fully defined. A hint of uncertainty, a fleeting moment of doubt, is more powerful than outright confession. Others will project their own interpretations onto it, often overestimating its significance. In doing so, they give you more influence over them than if you had openly displayed strength. You transform what is seen as weakness into an instrument of control. The mind of the observer becomes entangled in speculation, while you, calm and deliberate, navigate the true reality of the situation. There is also a subtle artistry in transforming vulnerability into emotional leverage. By showing a calculated softness, a momentary falter, or even a display of empathy, the emotionally dangerous can manipulate perception to cultivate loyalty, fear, or respect. People are disarmed when they perceive humanity, and in that disarmament lies opportunity. Machiavelli would recognize this as the deliberate use of psychology. The appearance of vulnerability triggers a reaction, and the reaction itself becomes the canvas upon which power is painted. You are not weakened, you are directing the flow of influence. It is essential, however, that this display never compromises autonomy. True emotional danger arises when vulnerability is a tool, not a liability. Every action, every revelation must reinforce control, never surrender it. The master understands that too much exposure invites domination, while too little renders the strategy ineffective. It is a delicate balance between revealing enough to manipulate perception and withholding enough to remain unassailable. The emotionally dangerous are architects of perception, designing a facade of humanity that conceals unyielding strength within. History provides numerous examples of this principle in action. Leaders who feigned uncertainty or hesitated at strategic moments often drew their opponents into overconfidence, only to strike decisively when advantage was guaranteed. Those who revealed human fragility selectively cultivated loyalty from allies who believed they understood the leader's true nature, unaware that every move was premeditated, every weakness an instrument of influence. Vulnerability, when managed with precision, amplifies power rather than diminishes it, because it is less about honesty and more about control. The emotionally dangerous also use vulnerability to manipulate trust. When others believe they have glimpsed a genuine moment of weakness, they may lower their defenses, disclose information, or align themselves with you more closely. Machiavelli would note that power is often exercised in the unseen, in the mind of the subject, in the choices they make unknowingly under your influence. Vulnerability becomes a lever, pulling others' perceptions, expectations, and actions in directions that serve your strategy. You are not weak, you are the unseen hand shaping the world around you. Finally, transforming vulnerability into power requires relentless self-discipline and awareness. It demands that every emotional display is deliberate, every pause intentional, and every revelation a calculated step in the grand design of influence. The emotionally dangerous do not stumble into exposure, they choreograph it, rehearsing the play that the world witnesses, ensuring that the narrative serves them and them alone. In this manner, what appears as weakness becomes a weapon, what appears as humanity becomes a shield, and every interaction becomes an arena where the balance of power rests firmly in your hands. In the intricate dance of power, few concepts are more misunderstood than isolation. Most see solitude as a symptom of weakness, a retreat from influence, a sign that one cannot hold sway over others. Yet Machiavelli, ever the keen observer of human nature and the mechanics of authority, understood that isolation, when wielded deliberately, is one of the greatest instruments of control and self-mastery. The emotionally dangerous recognize that to be untouchable, to remain unpredictable, and to be immune to the manipulations of the world, one must cultivate a mind and a presence unbound by dependency, unchained from expectation, and fortified by deliberate seclusion. Consider the ordinary individual, constantly surrounded by others, perpetually influenced by opinions, distracted by conversation, swayed by praise and criticism alike. Every word spoken by another chips away at autonomy, every glance threatens perception, every social interaction shapes the individual according to external will rather than internal strategy. This is the fate of those who fear isolation and seek the comfort of constant connection. They surrender control over themselves because they are entangled in the threads of society's expectations, forever vulnerable to emotional manipulation. The emotionally dangerous, in contrast, embrace isolation as a tool, a weapon of sovereignty. Isolation, properly understood, is not mere withdrawal. It is a strategic separation, a purposeful cultivation of independence. Machiavelli would argue that the ruler who isolates his mind from unnecessary influence strengthens his capacity for judgment, clarity, and foresight. The emotionally dangerous create mental and emotional space in which every decision is made free from the compulsions and urgencies imposed by others. In this solitude, one becomes capable of observing the world without being observed, of measuring human behavior without interference, of plotting moves that are both deliberate and impervious to manipulation. Solitude is the crucible in which self-mastery is forged, and the emotionally dangerous emerge from it sharper, stronger, and untouchable. But isolation is not only for clarity, it is also for perception management. Those who surround themselves constantly are predictable, readable, and vulnerable. People come to understand their habits, their emotional triggers, and their patterns of reaction. In contrast, the one who cultivates strategic isolation becomes unknowable. Their whereabouts, intentions, and focus are mysteries. Others attempt to influence them, to sway them, to predict them, only to discover that there is no fixed target. The emotionally dangerous are like shadows that move unseen, whose absence amplifies intrigue, whose silence magnifies influence. Isolation becomes not a void, but a source of power, a method of control over the perceptions of those who seek to control you. Isolation also permits the cultivation of inner strength. Machiavelli would argue that the mind, untethered by external pressures, becomes a laboratory for strategy. In solitude, one studies human nature, reflects on past interactions, and anticipates future contingencies. The emotionally dangerous use isolation to sharpen their insight into both themselves and others, to develop an intuition that cannot be bought, persuaded, or coerced. They emerge from solitude not weakened but enhanced, equipped with the ability to act decisively while others hesitate, to strike when others are blinded by expectation, and to maintain emotional independence regardless of circumstance. Moreover, isolation allows one to separate emotional needs from external manipulation. The average person seeks validation, approval, and attention. This need makes them vulnerable to flattery, to pressure, to emotional blackmail. The emotionally dangerous recognize that by limiting dependency on others for emotional stability, they remove the chains that bind them to manipulation. Solitude teaches self-reliance, and self-reliance breeds unpredictability. If no one can provoke you, no one can sway you, no one can dictate the terms of your internal life, you become ungovernable in the truest sense. Your emotions are your own, your decisions are your own, and your power becomes unassailable. Isolation, however, is not simply withdrawal from society, it is selective engagement. Machiavelli would remind us that to appear weak or disconnected is dangerous, but to engage only on your own terms amplifies authority. The emotionally dangerous observe, participate, and interact with precision, choosing their moments of connection to maximize impact and influence. Every social appearance becomes a calculated display, every interaction a deliberate move on the chessboard of human relations. The rest of the time, solitude is maintained, and it is in this quiet domain that power is consolidated, strategy is refined, and autonomy is preserved. History is filled with examples of rulers and strategists who understood the paradox of isolation. Those who appeared distant or solitary were often the most formidable, while those constantly surrounded by allies and advisors were easily manipulated, deceived, or betrayed. Machiavelli would note that distance sharpens judgment, shields from intrigue, and enhances perception. Emotional danger thrives in this space because it is unobserved yet potent, unpredictable yet deliberate, untouchable yet deeply effective. Isolation becomes the invisible hand guiding action, a sanctuary of sovereignty that no outside force can penetrate. Finally, isolation strengthens emotional resilience. In solitude, one faces the self without distraction, confronts fear without external reassurance, and learns to cultivate inner equilibrium that cannot be shaken by insult, opposition, or betrayal. The emotionally dangerous do not rely on others to regulate their state of mind, for their fortress is within, not outside. Machiavelli would insist that this self-contained power is the ultimate protection. It ensures that no external force, be it enemy, friend, or circumstance, can seize control. In this disciplined separation, independence becomes mastery, and mastery becomes the shield that renders one truly untouchable. In the end, the path to becoming emotionally dangerous is not a matter of cruelty, arrogance, or superficial bravado. It is a disciplined mastery of the self, a relentless cultivation of control over perception, reaction, and influence. By building emotional fortresses, you make yourself untouchable. By commanding fear and respect, you shape the world around you. By transforming vulnerability into a weapon, you turn perceived weakness into unassailable power. And by embracing isolation as a tool, you free yourself from the chains of manipulation, dependency, and expectation. Those who understand these principles move through life with a sovereignty few ever achieve. They are unshakable in the face of provocation, unpredictable in action, and deliberate in thought. They are feared not for their cruelty, respected not for their titles, and envied not for their possessions, but for their mastery over the most powerful force in existence, their own mind and emotions. To be emotionally dangerous is to be free, untouchable, and strategically supreme. It is to step off the stage of ordinary human manipulation and take your place as a force that no one can command, no one can sway, and no one can foresee. In the quiet discipline of self-mastery, the emotionally dangerous write their own rules, dictate their own terms, and become the architects of their destiny in a world too often controlled by the whims and weaknesses of others.